everybody, how's it going here? Odie Coyote with Mixed Country 106, joined for our, been a while. We didn't do one last month, and I hate that we're not consistent with this, but we're back with the live stream here. I have producer Raven in the studio. How's it going, producer Raven?
Good.
You got a cold though, right?
Shut up.
So if you guys hear any coughing or that in the background, that's why. But she's being a trooper and toughing it out, so really excited for that. Let's take care of some housekeeping. We've got some new camera angles that we don't always show off. I thought I'd start off with that. So when we want to do a bit of a wide shot, we can do that here. I'll switch over here like this. Boom. Got a wide shot. And in case we want to get a little side profile shot here, check this out, y'all. I've got my mobile camera. And this one's cool because I can actually get this one up. And you can see me. And this one's actually on a gimbal finally, so we can twirl this thing around. Should we go say hi to Raven?
I hate you right now.
I know you do. But what's nice is I like this because now we can actually get some more dynamic shots, which means when we do these live streams in the future, we actually have a camera that's actually good enough that we can be mobile with it. So in case you guys ever want to see the studio, this is pretty much it. Where producer Raven sits, and then you can come and see where I sit. And we're going to talk about this later in the live stream here. But what are we going to be doing with this console here? I think we're going to have to figure something out. I'm going to talk about why I might be getting rid of this console later on in the live stream as well. Hopefully. We'll see. All right. And, of course, the lighting and all of that. So I'm going to put this back on its stand here, and then we'll get everything back put in place, and then we'll get going with the show. But I just thought I'd get that out of the way here. So if you guys see us trying out some different camera angles and they don't look quite right, really sorry about that. But we're working on it. There we go. Right back to where we're supposed to be. All right. Perfect. Let's get on with it, shall we? Let's get to the actual interesting stuff here, what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to mute Raven for the moment here. Coming up, guys, we're going to talk about Garth Brooks, and we're going to talk about his legal controversy that's going on with him. We're going to be talking about the hurricanes, both of them, our thoughts and takes on them, give you some updated numbers that we're able to find here. And also, we're going to be talking about Brantley Gilbert. He had a baby in the middle of a show. And we're going to talk about that. That's insane. And then also we're going to be, I guess I talked a little about selling the Wing console, what I'm thinking about doing instead. We got that all coming up. And Raven and I might be looking at buying a new vehicle in the next year or so. And we're going to tell you guys what that is all coming up during the show. Now, the length of this show, sometimes it's 30 minutes, sometimes it's an hour. And to be honest with you guys, it really depends on you, the viewer. We're live right now on both my personal Facebook page, my Mixed Country 106 Facebook page, and we're live on YouTube as well. And producer Raven is going to be looking at the comments for every one of those platforms, and we're going to be kind of going based off your feedback. So all of the conversations that we're having, we'd love for your comments. We'd love for your feedback, and we'd love to share them live here on the live stream. So please, by all means, comment, share, so we have more to talk about. So otherwise, it'll be a fairly short one. But we always try to make it fun and entertaining no matter the length. So, but the more engagement we have, the better. Let's talk about this Garth Brooks controversy that's going on. It's not even a controversy. It's a full-blown lawsuit between him and his former makeup artist that he has for his show. Apparently, and I'm just summarizing here from all the news articles. You guys can please go out and read these yourselves. But apparently, back in 2019... this lady that was doing his hair and makeup for him, and the same one that used to do Trisha's hair and makeup, the way that it goes from her side of the story is that he had her on his private jet, just the two of them, not without his whole entourage that he normally has around him, and she thought that was really strange. Then she said that he booked just one hotel room and that they were going to share it. Then she says that he revealed himself to her. I'm going to be doing this because obviously I got to abide by YouTube and Facebook guidelines here. But he revealed himself to her, and like try to force himself on her. And his side of this whole thing is that he actually was trying to help her out, years ago, because apparently she was struggling for money, kind of in financial. But what he wouldn't do is bring her on as a full-time staff member. That's a business, right? Sometimes you can do things for people, and sometimes you can't. And that's where, and when he said that no, he couldn't meet those demands, for salary and benefits and all of that. That's when she said that all of this happened, and she didn't say anything, I guess, right away because she was hard for money, and it's all just coming out now years later. And this last week, Garth Brooks originally didn't want to reveal her name, and we're not going to say her name either, just because for right now, let's let the court systems deal with all the privacy and legalities and all that. But just for what we know, she now is upset because now her name has been revealed, which that typically happens in a lawsuit. Typically it's a lot of that stuff eventually becomes public record anyway, especially in a high profile case like this. It's going to come out. So I don't really know what expectation of privacy she was hoping to have here. I'm not going to comment on necessarily what I personally think of the whole situation, though I will say it would seem highly out of character for Garth to do something like this. If you've ever watched an interview with Garth Brooks, he's kind of like the gentle giant, if you will. He'll say, "Oh, sweet, oh, that's so sweet," or something like that, like 10 times in an interview. He's really he gives you this really calm and caring personality. So, and I've seen and heard enough from Garth, and I've listened to him all my life since I was just a little kid, and it doesn't make sense. Certainly, if any part of it were true, then you certainly would know it, because, see, Trisha and Garth, travel together most of the time. So you'd feel like she would know if anything was going on between him and the makeup artist, if there was something weird. And it just doesn't seem to have much merit to it from the surface. Now, again, that's just abstractly what I'm getting based off the articles. But please, guys, feel free to go and read them and kind of determine your own opinion here, at least right now. But yeah, there's the full lawsuit on this, and I guess we'll have to see how it shakes out in court. But man, if any of this turns out to be true, it would be extremely shocking. It would definitely be breaking big news, because you just wouldn't expect it from Garth. But this day and age, not everyone is always who they seem. So we'll have to see. Gonna move on to talk about the hurricanes. And by the way, before I do that, actually, I got one more thing. If you guys have anything you guys want to share on the Garth Brooks controversy, if you guys have heard some news about it and you want to share your thoughts on there, obviously feel free to do that in the comments, and we'll share them a little bit later on in the show. Producer Raven was kind enough to get me some facts and factoids about the hurricane that happened this last week, and I was just thinking to myself, we've got Hot Country 104 that airs the station, or airs our syndicated show, Bar Talk Happy Hour, down in Florida, and they're just north of Orlando in that area. And it's Kickin' Country 104. I'm so sorry. And I was just thinking about them this last week, and I was just thinking, for all of the stations, in the industry that I work in, I get to hear some stories about, how people overcome. But radio in general becomes a lifeline in these hurricane situations. And so it's really vital for stations to either stay on air, have multiple backup plans, because it really is one of the major communication points for public service announcements, for communicating emergency messages out to the public. And it's one of the most effective methods, too, to deliver those messages. And for those not in the know, radio stations spend a lot of time and money to ensure that they always stay on the air. They've got 2 or 3 backup options. There's generators, everything they do. A lot of stations, even, they might have their main station in a building, right? But then they also might have a backup solution at a transmitter site, just in case something happens at the main building. And then they have multiple layers of backups built on top of that. And that's all for you as the public to keep on air in case the worst, case should happen. And so for the stations who've managed to stay on air, including the ones that air our show, it's just a testimony to their efforts and their dedication to keeping the public informed, and we just want to share our gratitude for that. But we also want to share our hearts, our heartfelt prayers, and just we honestly hope that the devastation that happened after both of these hurricanes, that the good Lord will provide a will and a way to help these people recover quickly. As it stands right now, based on some of the numbers Raven was able to get from me, there have been 223 people that have died and more unaccounted for. So even after a week, hundreds of thousands are still without power. And with Hurricane Milton, over 2 million homes and businesses are without power. And there's actually been at least an additional 17 deaths as a result of just this hurricane. So this has been a historic event, a monumental event. And our hearts and prayers honestly go out to everyone impacted by the events that's happened these past few weeks here with both Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton. And we certainly hope and pray for the best for everyone involved in this. And I guess count your blessings if you weren't impacted by it, because it just could have been just as easy as any one of us being involved. Sorry, I'm getting a little tongue tied here. But yeah, and if you guys, if we have any viewers that happen to be tuning in from any of the affected locations, how has it been going for you guys? Are you guys recovering okay? We'd love to get some firsthand accounts and share them as well. So if anyone's got any stories or knows anybody in that area and wants to share their perspective on it, please, by all means, get a comment on there. So, all right. This next story just came out today. This just broke. So this is like breaking news. But Brantley Gilbert, his wife, had their baby literally backstage at a recent show. Producer Raven, can you, because I didn't get a chance to fully read this. This just broke like 30 minutes before we went on the air. What?
Hey, it's right. It says right here. It was on his tour bus.
Oh, it wasn't backstage. It was on the tour bus. She had the baby on the tour bus. Wow. Okay. Can you talk a little bit about that, Producer Raven, what you found? Because I just found out about this myself.
I just found this article earlier. So he was doing a show in Tupelo, Mississippi, and it's his 2024 Off the Rails tour, and his wife Amber went into labor.
And then he had to stop the show in the middle of it, right?
Yeah, after like a few songs, he stopped the show and was told about an emergency in the back. So he went to go attend to that and found out that his wife is delivering a baby.
Did he come back on stage like sometime later and tell everybody?
Yeah, so he called his mom, told him that, hey, congratulations, you're a grandma. And after he got off the phone, he went back on stage, told the audience, we had a baby. And everyone erupted into applause. There's like his own Instagram has a video on it. There's people that have posted videos on TikTok. Social media is just lighting up about it right now.
I just can't believe that he was still doing a tour. Like, I wouldn't be mad if I don't know of anyone who could be mad if the tour had to be like that particular show had to be canceled or something. And my goodness, that just tells you some of the dedication with these artists. But I'm guessing it was a happy, or the baby was well healthy and there wasn't any concern for complications. So
all we know right now, anyway.
That's just incredible. You guys can check the videos out, but it's so awesome. That was the best thing I've seen all day. But yeah, congratulations to Brantley Gilbert and their new baby. That's incredible. Just having it backstage, or at least on the tour bus. Yeah. Oh my gosh. He has a really dedicated wife. That's all I'm going to say. Like, that's dedication. She's on tour with him to support him, all while being on the brink of pregnancy or giving birth for her pregnancy. And that happens. What? That's insane. Oh, you women are tough. Let me tell you that.
Oh, yeah, we are. Which we ought to be after having to carry about 10 pounds on our bodies.
Wow. Incredible. All right. So, one thing I forgot to mention in the beginning of the show, and I guess I should probably mention it now. Now's about as good a time as any. But again, if you guys have any comments or anything you want to share about the Brantley Gilbert, again, all of these stories are fully open for discussion. Love to go back and chat about them. So, if you got anything you want to say, or even just something else on your mind you want to share, feel free to put that in the comments, and we'd love to share that on the show here. But I thought I would share something else obvious as housekeeping, because you guys haven't seen my face very much. You've seen me in a couple of interviews that we've done. We've actually had a lot of interviews. Let's see. We're doing Thomas Michael Riley today. We did Chuck Weimer. Who else have we interviewed recently? We've had a string of like 4 or 5 different interviews. And
we got one coming up with Matt Hilliard.
Yep, that's
later on this month.
Yep,
like within the next month.
Yep. So we got Matt Hilliard that's going to be on. We did Jarrett Ray Reddick a while back again for the, what was it, the 4th time we've interviewed him?
No, it was the
third time we've interviewed Jarrett Ray Reddick. That was a little while ago.
And then you had another
Rudy. Yep, we did
Rudy.
Yep, can't forget about Rudy.
Yep, can't forget about Rudy.
Yeah, and he's got a new song coming out that just released. We haven't picked it up yet because I haven't had a chance to listen to it, to be honest with you. But
it's in the works.
It's in the works. So, but yeah, we had Rudy on. That was pretty cool. And yeah, what else? We just had a lot. But anyway, my point behind that is there's something different about me that you guys may have noticed. And I wanted to share the story real quick of what that is. Is it obvious?
He's got hair.
I do. I have long locks of hair now.
We could trim up the back.
Probably could trim it just to make it a little more even, but I am growing my hair out again. I mean, if any of you guys, here, I'm going to mute Raven because we don't want to hear her blowing nose on air. Anyway, sorry. I'm trying to give you some respect too. But anyway, so I'm growing my hair out, and some of you guys may remember from like 2020, 2019, I did the same thing for about 2 years, and I'd never made it long enough to be able to donate it. I don't know what's possessed me to do it, but since January of this year, I have not cut my hair at all. It was right before, last time I cut it was right before a New York trip. I guess that'd have been February, actually, that I took, and that was the last time I've cut my hair. And I want to grow it out to be able to donate it. My mom, before she passed away in 2015 from pancreatic cancer, my mom was never one to want to be, a pretty thing. Like, she didn't dress up. She didn't do makeup a lot. The only time in my whole life I ever remember seeing her dressed up was the time in the 90s. Some of her friends took her out to do glamour shots. I don't know. I'm old enough to know what it is, but I'm young enough to not really understand what the big appeal of it was. My understanding is it basically a way for women to go in and look like movie stars, and they had costumes and stuff. And I guess that was the point. Raven, do you know anything about glamour shots?
Do I look like that type of girl?
No, that's actually a fair statement. Okay, so, but yeah, my mom, and I still have a photo. The reason I know about it well enough is my mom had a photo, and that was the only time I've ever seen her doll up, frankly. But anyway, I bring that up because when my mom lost her hair during the cancer treatments, she found a lot more confidence back in herself and a little more will to kind of keep moving and fighting when she got her wig to help her look and feel more normal. And that's something that kind of stuck with me. And there's not a lot of guys, men, I don't think of any men actually that I know of that's actually tried to do the same thing. That's a lot of women and that will grow out their hair. And you have to have a thing at like 6 inches long or something like that. And that's something that I've wanted to kind of try to do. I've blessed, I guess, if you will. A lot of people say, well, you have such thick hair. And like, yes, I do. And that's also part of the problem why I don't grow it out because it's a lot to manage. It's very thick. It's very coarse. And it gets really, really curly in the back. And so I don't always like it, but I will say I've had a lot of comments and compliments on my hair. And they've all been positive. So I guess we'll keep it up and we'll try to grow it out as long as we can. I even had, I don't know if he's listening or not, my boss, Ricky, messaged me just randomly this last week. He's like, I just wanted to say I love your hair. Thanks. But yeah, I've had people mention how much they like the hair and all that. So I guess as long as they keep getting motivation to grow it out, and as long as it still looks okay, I guess I'll keep doing it. So hold on, you're muted.
So then who did Junior take after for hair?
I think he's more after you. His hair is a lot thinner than mine. I don't have him down here, so I can't say, but I want to say he looks more like you as far as the hair. He's
You
getting
think so?
Yeah, his hair's getting darker though. It's almost getting to be about my darkness.
It's a dishwater.
Yeah, it is very, very dirty dishwater blonde.
No, it's still dishwater.
I'm gonna have to agree to disagree with you. But anyway, all right.
Back on track.
Yeah, back on track. All right, a few more things that we wanted to talk about. I mentioned it earlier, but I am thinking about selling the console over here, my Behringer Wing, and that is because this last week, Behringer released the Behringer Wing Rack and the Behringer Wing Compact. And the reason I'm thinking about selling this thing is, sorry. Nope, did not mute you yet. But the reason I'm wanting to sell this is it's a big console. It takes up the majority of my desk on my right-hand side. I love all the features and the easy accessibility of just going through the different layers and all of that. But my gripe with it is it's big. It's just too big for what I really want sitting on my desk. When in reality, most of the time, I only need access to maybe 4 or 5 faders, throughout my day work. And so these smaller versions of the same console that have the exact same features in them are really appealing to me because, it wouldn't take as much on my desk, and I could have other things like, I don't know, notepad and paper for note taking. I literally have nowhere. I don't know if you saw it earlier in the stream, but I really don't have anywhere on my desk big enough to write or work. Everything's very compacted, and I'd really like to have just a little more space to work, and that's not taken up by equipment. That would be awesome. So, yeah. So I'm thinking about doing that, selling this, and hopefully getting a new console. Now, Raven and I have had long debates about this next. And by the way, in the comments, should I get a new console or should I keep what I have? What do you guys think? Let me know. Now, Raven and I on this next subject have had multiple different views and long discussions about this. But Raven, what are your thoughts on possibly getting a new car?
I don't want a car payment for a while.
We're very close to paying off our current car. The issues that we're having with it are mostly minor, to be honest with you. But it's more of like a safety thing. I'm not going to call Raven a bad driver, but I'm going to say that she would benefit from having some safety aids to help her.
You're lucky I'm sick right now.
I'm not going to call you out, but there was last week we had an incident that scared the crap out of me with riding with her. Okay. Sorry. But anyway, it brings me to my point that I'm thinking about a car that has some maybe safety sensors that can help, especially just in, bad visibility situations, and something that can help. So we've agreed that we've got 2 vehicles in mind that we're thinking about purchasing maybe in the next year or so. One is a Chevy Equinox EV with the Chevy Super Cruise on it. We're thinking about that. It's a really cool looking car. They redid the whole thing, so it doesn't quite look like a normal Equinox. It's a little different. We've been thinking about that. And we've also been thinking about getting a Tesla Model Y. And we're maybe next year going to go out and test drive. Do any of you guys have any experience with either one of those vehicles? Let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on Tesla and all that. I think for me, I'm leaning to Tesla hard because one, it's got full self-driving on it if you want it. And it's got a bunch of the safety sensors, and lane keep assist, collision warning, like prevention.
I still don't trust that full self-driving.
It's coming along. I will say that it is very much coming along, and like I've seen plenty of videos of people driving it on the Las Vegas Strip, driving it through Los Angeles, with full self-driving enabled. So Iowa is not that bad for traffic. So if it can handle those, I feel like it would do well on Iowa roads, just not in the winter, like when the lanes are all
That
covered
was
up.
gonna be my next thing. How
Yeah.
about in the winter?
Winter probably wouldn't be as good because it probably wouldn't be able to see the lines on the road, and also with it being slippery. And that's the only thing with like cars. Now I realize they're heavier because they've got the big battery, but they've got a low center of gravity. But I think the other thing that I like about them is one, there's a $7,500 incentive to buy them because the federal government's got an EV tax credit. The other thing that is appealing to me is they are the fifth cheapest car to insure, so they're quite safe. And they've now got National Highway Safety Administration data that indicates that with just driver assist technology, that it's twice as safe as a normal non-assistive technology car. And then with the full self-driving, it's up to 10 times safer than just a human-operated vehicle. So that's like kind of big. I mean, the other parts that are simply just creature comforts, like the idea that it's raining and I want the car to come to me. It has smart summon, which is really cool.
Here, boy.
What are you doing?
You said it'll come to me, so here,
Yeah,
boy. Come here,
it's
car.
not a-
Come here, car.
Okay, now look what you've done. You called the dog. That's what you did. You called the dog. Good job. You called Toby.
Not anymore.
All right. Well, that was fun. But yeah, so it has the ability where you can call it, so it can come to you at the front of the store, and you've got a bunch of groceries, and you don't want to go out in the rain, or maybe it's hot. You can have the car come right to you, which is pretty cool. And I think I just like the idea of the security system that it has in there. It's got cameras that can be always on, so you can see if someone scratches your car, and you can get a better look at them. It can do license plates and all of that, which I like. We had a string of incidents about a year or so ago where someone literally smashed off, not once, but twice, our side mirror in the Walmart parking lot. And it happened within a series of just a couple weeks.
Yeah, a week and a half.
Yeah.
I kept track.
And they busted our side mirror off twice. So for no reason. And I was starting to really think that, like, does someone have a grudge against Raven? Like, is someone just mad?
Oh, some of my coworkers were so scared that they started walking with me to my car.
So, I mean, it was getting bad. And so, like, I'm thinking about something like that can have the cameras around it to be able to see and what's going on. So that's my justification for it anyway. So I'll leave it there.
So we got a comment right now.
Okay.
Kevin says he's old school, but he would not have an EV.
Would not have an EV. Mm.
But again, he's old school. Like
Yeah.
he even said so.
And I'm old school in some ways, but I'm new school in others. Like, I cannot. You're talking to a tech guy here. It's hard for me not to see the benefit. To me, to be honest, my utopia. You really gotta stop, babe. I'm trying to do it for your own benefit. Sorry, guys. Because the problem is our microphones have a lot of compression on them. It's broadcast setup, so even when Raven's far away from the microphone, it picks it up because it has a dynamic gain on there. So sorry about it if it's loud. But when what I'm thinking of, my utopia is, because I'm legally blind, like I can't drive a car anymore. I would love it if it was legal for me to own a car that when I want to go somewhere, I can just put in the address and it will take me there. Like, you have no idea how much independence that would give me back. That to me would be just amazing. It is such a burden for me to have to either get Raven to take me everywhere, which is what most of the time happens, or for example, like if I want to go do a church function, I have to like call like a week in advance and try to get a church member to give me a ride to wherever we're going. Or in public transit, for me to catch a bus, I have to walk 1.5 miles to the nearest bus stop. I kid you not. I could show you on Google Maps how far it is to the nearest bus stop. It's 1.5 miles walk just to do that. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't run anymore. Yeah, Raven's thinking of the Jetsons. Yeah. Yeah, for real. The Jetsons, the cars, and then they had the tubes that can take you everywhere. Yeah, it's just like that. But, public transit isn't as accessible for me. I just live in a weird neighborhood. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's just it doesn't. And I don't necessarily qualify for paratransit because paratransit isn't just you have a disability. You have to show that you have something that prevents your mobility of being able to walk to a bus stop. And technically blind does not constitute that. So, what am I going to do? Plus, I can tell you I've used some of those services in the past. You have to, it's required that they pick you up an hour before your actual appointment time. And then when you're done, sometimes you have to wait a half hour or 45 minutes after the appointment just to get picked up again. So an appointment that if you were a normal person, you could leave 20 minutes before your appointment, get there on time, and then be back immediately afterwards. Double that time at least if you're relying on some sort of public transportation or a rideshare system. And that's not always good because I work, I only get, so much time that I can afford to be away from my desk to go to these appointments. So again, that's my utopia, is just to be able to have my own car. Raven doesn't have to drive me anywhere. I can just get in it, tell it where I want to go, and it'll take me there. That would honestly be my utopia. Raven also brings up Futurama. Futurama is a very dystopian outlook on the future, and I don't want any part of that. I mentioned tubes, but the Jetsons had the tubes. They had what do they call it? They use them at the banks. Pneumatic tubes. There we go. And also, then you could think Star Trek with teleporters. Raven, you can talk. Your mic's not muted.
I thought I still was. Sorry.
I even have the camera on you still.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, see? Big red box up on there.
Yeah.
So, you guys, this is, I'll show you real quickly. We have a multi-view window open on the side so Raven can see what's on air and what's not. Sorry.
Well, I got a giant monitor that covers about 3/4 of it.
Yeah,
So
because I have to have big giant monitors in order for me to do my
I have
job.
to go like this.
My job involves being on the computers all day, and so I have very large
Look
monitors.
around.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm out. I'm out of things to talk about.
Could talk about Junior's conferences.
Yeah, I guess our kid's doing pretty good. I didn't really want to bring that up because it was brought up in the show today. We let Junior do his Coyote Junior Country Classics, and we mentioned in there that we did his conferences this last week, and he's doing really good. He's in math. His reading needs some work, so they've got him in a special reading group to help bring his reading skills up. But math, he's almost at a 3rd grade level, and he's only in 2nd grade, just kind of halfway through the 1st quarter. So.
Shockingly.
Yeah, I know. But it's really good. So they've actually are going to get him tested for the talented and gifted program, just to see.
But they're also going to test like his problem solving skills.
Right.
Not just,
Yeah. Well, we'll see how he does.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
Will be. All right. Any other comments? Any feedback?
Unfortunately, no.
All right.
We've had some likes, but that's about it.
I like likes. I like hearts. I like shares. All right.
There's nothing hateful or hurtful, please.
That's okay. I appreciate all feedback, good, bad, and not so good. So.
Okay.
It's all good. All right.
Well, should we tell everybody goodbye and
wrap this thing up. We went for
Yeah.
almost 30 minutes. Well,
Well,
no,
we
we did
went
go
over
30.
almost
Yeah.
45 minutes.
Well, we started at 5:05 because I always give an extra 5 minutes because that's how streaming works. If you actually start straight up and without the timer, people don't actually tune in. So that's why we intentionally actually go 5 minutes late. So yeah, we've been on for 35 minutes now. So I think we'll wrap up. And yeah, hopefully we actually get to be back on a regular schedule with this whole thing. I apologize that we haven't, but thanks again so much for tuning in, y'all. And we really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time. See ya.
Bye.